Hello everyone. Initially I made a different version of this video, but I decided to shorten it so it would be more direct and to the point. I know I haven't posted a video on here for a while, but I don't like posting videos just to post videos. It's usually because I want to make a point or impress something upon everyone. And in this video, I've really been in my downtime on my page studying the living crap out of the Kegan Kline interview, where Indiana State Police investigators interviewed him after they served the search warrant on his home, after he returned from Vegas, after the murders of Abby and Libby. And one of the things that just really repeatedly is a pattern I saw for almost 200 pages in this question and answer session with Kline is that, number one, when he was initially administered a polygraph test pertaining to the deaths of Abby and Libby, he failed that polygraph test. He even admits it in this affidavit. I'm sorry, this interview transcript. And you go further through this entire thing, and you just get to see he's just caught in lie after lie after lie. And I would encourage everybody to go back and reread this interview transcript, even if it takes you like an hour or 2 hours, because there's so much in there. And I think that investigators really need to keep pushing this avenue, if they haven't, even harder. I bookmarked some of these things I wanted to discuss, but I don't want to go in too much detail because there's just too much to go over in an 8 or 9 minute video. But in a nutshell, here's what's going on, okay? On page 57 of this transcript, you have investigators telling Kline that they collected GPS data showing that the morning, February 13, 2017, that Abby and Libby were killed, there were multiple devices that were logging in and out of the Anthony Shots account. We also know from this transcript that Kegan Kline created an Emily Ann or Emily Ann 45 account, and asked questions about, would somebody, do something with my father, this or that or the other thing. And so he's got all these multiple personas created, not just the Anthony Shots one, to where he's communicating with these girls. And the girls are murdered. He takes off to Las Vegas. They obtain the history of his phones, and they find out that he's Googling how long does DNA last. They find out that he's looking up all kinds of information about Abby and Libby's murders. But when he's questioned here by these agents, he just says, oh, well, I don't really remember talking to her. Well, if you don't really remember talking to her, why are you so interested in Googling all of it if she's not that noteworthy in your brain to you? Why do you flee town and start Googling that all of a sudden? And, how long does DNA last? And then we have investigators also saying that in these search histories that he was talking about, they're searching for, all kinds of underage stuff and Sandy Hook victims. I mean, just disturbing stuff that you can't dismiss, I don't think, as coincidence. There's just too much going on here. And furthermore, everybody likes to point the finger at Tony Kline and go, what if he was helping him, et cetera, et cetera. And you go through this transcript some more, and the investigators actually asked Kline about this. They said, well, how did your dad react when he found out about all this and found out that you were looking up all these things on your phone, et cetera, et cetera? And he said that his dad and his grandfather were devastated, and his dad allegedly was even crying. So as bad of a person as his father is alleged to be, he's also listed as a witness against Kline for the prosecution in this CSAM case. So clearly, I don't think they would be using somebody if they thought that Tony Kline was involved in the Delphi case. And it makes me think, I talked to the person who was Kline's jailmate, who said Kline was saying all these things about him and his dad being out there. And I think Kline is projecting a lot of guilt for something. And I just think investigators can't prove all of it yet. I think he might be trying to blame his dad for things just because he was in the same household and he's the only person he has to blame. I mean, everything points toward that, everybody. And I would urge you to go through this entire interview again over and over, because there's a treasure trove there. And investigators, really take time yourselves to go through this again. I don't think you even know. I mean, you've said in court, Nick McClelland has, that he believes that there's other players involved in this. And I think this is probably a big part of why. Um, what if Kline gave one of these devices to somebody the day of the crime, thinking, okay, well, they can't track who has it because I have all these different names, screen names, that they'd never be able to put a paper trail up against him? Or maybe he just fulfills his fantasies through Richard Allen or somebody else and has them, film it and makes a snuff film and pays them. I mean, who knows? But there should be no reason for Kline to be searching for these things after the